She torched my passport like it was trash, flicked a lighter, watched the flame bloom, and dropped into the airport bin as if she hadn't just incinerated everything that tied me to who I was. No tears, no hesitation, just a cold, clinical smile, the kind you'd expect from a surgeon after a flawless incision. "Stay home. Watch the kids," she said, voice laced with venom. "That's what broke husbands do." And with that, she turned on her heel and walked toward the private jet, not alone but with him, the man in the bespoke suit, smirking like he'd already won. His arm slid around her waist like a claim, and she leaned into him like it was nothing, like I was nothing. She never looked back. I didn't reel from the betrayal that had been brewing. No, it was the artistry of her exit, the vicious elegance in how effortlessly she dismantled me. She had choreographed this. Every line, every step, every smirk. She thought I'd fall apart. She had no idea who I truly was. The terminal thinned out around me like the end of a play. Passengers trickling away, announcements bouncing off the walls, luggage wheels clicking along the tile. Somewhere near gate 19, a kid whimpered, but my world had gone silent. I eased down onto a bench, afraid that any sudden movement might break me into pieces. My fingers still clutched the carry-on she let me pack, a bag full of delusions, sunscreen, family photos, and a novel she had no intention of ever reading beside me. I checked my phone, no signal. Then a buzz. "Her. Need a ride home? You must be so lost without me." It didn't pierce me like I'd expected. It just confirmed what I already knew. She didn't want a clean break. She wanted to crush me. But you don't back a man into a corner unless you've counted his teeth. I scrolled, past old texts, past moments that once meant something, past images I now saw through a new lens, until I found the contact. P-R-I-A-T, no name, just a number. I hadn't touched it in 3 years. I tapped call. One ring. "Liquidate everything," I said, voice steady and cold. "All her shares. Now." It took 10 minutes. Just 10. In that time, a $550 million empire began to crumble, thread by golden thread. From behind the glass, I watched her in the jet's cabin. Her phone rang. She answered with a bored kind of arrogance, still riding high, still untouchable. Then it hit her, that moment of stillness when the world shifts beneath your feet. Her eyes widened, shoulders snapped taut. She blinked. I imagined the voice on the other end, polite, emotionless, clinical, informing her that her assets were being sold off, that her name had been stripped from the board, that the very man who bankrolled her rise had just cut the cord. "Me!" she mouthed to her lover. He stared blankly, confused. She shoved past him, bolted for the cabin door, stumbled down the stairs, her heels skidding against the tarmac. My phone began to glow with notifications. 1 message. 2. By the time I unlocked it, 43. Then 89. Then 135. "What did you do? Please answer. They're freezing everything. This has to be a mistake. Don't do this." I didn't reply. I watched as she tore through the terminal, like she could outpace the fallout. Hair in disarray, mascara streaked, her expensive dress twisted in panic. He followed at a hesitant distance, no longer the confident man with the perfect life ahead of him. Now, he looked like a junior analyst during his first market crash. Security intercepted her near the sliding doors. She screamed my name, wild, frantic animal. Heads turned. A few phones came out. We locked eyes. And in that second, I saw it all unravel. Not just her business, not just a betrayal, but her. The mask slipped. Gone was the mother who kissed our kids with lies on her breath. Gone was the poised executive who smiled on magazine covers. In her place, a terrified girl behind the flames, desperate and trapped. She mouthed something. "Please." I raised my phone. Took a photo, no flash, just a moment, raw and real. Then I turned. As I walked toward arrivals, sunlight poured through the windows. Warm, steady, familiar. Like home. My phone chimed one last time. $550 million. Transfer complete. Account secured. I allowed myself a small smile. Not because I won, This wasn't triumph. This was liberation. The kids were safe. They'd never see her like this. And me? I wasn't the ghost she thought she'd buried. She believed she'd write my ending. Leave me broken, abandoned at the curb, begging for a ride home. But she forgot. I paved a runway she tried to escape on. I financed her ascent. I kept her secrets. And when she set fire to my name, she didn't realize who handed her the match. Now she's behind the glass, unraveling, and I walk away, step by step, each one lighter than the last. Not bitter, not angry, just free. Funny thing about fire, it doesn't just consume. It clears the ground for something new. And from the ashes of everything we were, I rose. Singed, yes. Smarter, absolutely. But above all, alive.